Hello. Today I'm going to create a page in Notion that is for class notes for school. I know that a lot of people are going back to school soon, either online or in person. Either way, Notion is a great tool for students. And I wondered if I had Notion when I was in college, what I would do for a class notes page. So I kind of made a little mock-up. I made it skeletal. It doesn't have a whole lot of bells and whistles, but you can use it and customize it yourself. And we are also going to build it from scratch in this video. As well, I almost have 500 subscribers, and that is insane. Thank you. What? I'm excited, I'm confused. I'm very thankful for the overwhelming positivity. This isn't my natural place. Putting my face on camera, it is weirdly vulnerable, but I definitely have a lot more courage with all of the positivity and the subscribers. I think this is crazy. Thank you. Thank you for subscribing. So let's start building this. So let's start with looking at the finished product. This is the class notes page. I have a bunch of GIFs as my cover images in my gallery view. So you may hear the fan on my computer running very loudly because of these GIFs. So there's a little bit of a downside if you don't have a super good computer. But you can use GIFs, and you can just go into like giphy.com and copy the link from that GIF and paste it into a cover image, which I'll show you how to do right now. So you'll see up here, if I go to change cover and I go to link, you can just paste that link right in here and it'll show up. So inside each class, I have an instructor. In this class, I'm gonna have it themed green. So the instructor is highlighted in green. I have semester 1. Each class is separated by semesters. I also have the location of the class. I know a lot of people aren't going in person, but you could also maybe put a link here. As well, there's a notes section. This is going to be a self-referential database that we'll go into, and assignments. Due dates from those assignments will show up here in this roll-up. I also have a little formula here that will tell me if something is due today or something is due tomorrow. But you can keep your whatever grade you have currently in here. I also have a formula for the US standard GPA, the 4.0 GPA, and a letter grade, which is also US standard. Down here is our self-referential tables, which will help update these notes sections and assignments. So essentially what these are separate databases that I'll show you in a second on our dashboard, and I'm just linking them, that's why this little arrow is here, to this template, and I am filtering each one to a relation property called class, and I'm making sure it contains the class we're currently in, so that every time, for instance, if I put this note in here, turn into a page, and it will show up in our notes. Same goes for assignments. You add assignments here. I have as a filter insert assignment's name, and you can look up here and see that it shows up in our assignments. As well, if I go into due date and I say it's due tomorrow on the 30th, it will show the due date here, and it will show that I have something due tomorrow. So if you have multiple assignments, there will be multiple due dates, and what this formula will do will grab only the dates that are today or tomorrow. I'm also going to go over some KaTeX syntax formula. I don't really know the verbiage, but some KaTeX arrangements, so you can create fun titles that are centered in the Notion page. If you don't know a whole lot about Notion, you can't really center text right now, but with KaTeX you can. So I'll go into that as well. And here are the notes we're going to make as a template. So top tier just represents the major topic that is being discussed in this particular class. There might be 2 or 3 of these. And then within those top tier titles, you're going to have everything inside. So in here again, we have a little bit of a green theme, and we're going to go through creating these template buttons, which are called inline templates, or maybe I just call them that, but templates inside the body of a page. And we're going to create all of these fun little things as well, dumb tables, tables that are not databases, and it is possible using KaTeX. So we'll go through all of this right now. Let's create an inline gallery, call it my classes, and let's make these large so they're more square. It's kind of like how that looks better. Delete these and let's start with this one. And let's do the same we did with that other page and just call it English Comp 2. And let's say instructor. Make that text. Instructor's name. In green. As well, let's do the semester, which is going to be a select property. Call this one semester 1. Do another one for semester 2, just so we have it. Now let's make one for the location of the class. Make this green. Notes, and this is going to connect to our notes page, which we're going to create right now, and assignments. So before we go any further, let's make these pages. Just go down here and make a page, /page. We're going to do a full page database and call this one notes. Give it a nice little emoji. And we're good. Let's call this note name. Over here, we'll call this class, and this is going to connect to our classes, so let's do that right now. We're going to make it a relation property and look for our database, my classes, create that relation. The next one's going to be assignments, and we will connect that in a moment. The next one is files. So any files you're collecting that correlates with that note or documents or whatever. Also, I want to put down the lecture number. So is this lecture number 1, 2, 3, and it will associate with the class. So you'll be able to see this is lecture 1 in class whatever, lecture 2 in class whatever, and like that. Now let's create that assignments page, and in the same fashion, it's a full width table. Let's go with assignment name, the class, and we're going to connect this to class again. My classes. Put that over there. We also want files because that might be important. I also want a due date because it is an assignment. Whether it's a reading or an essay that's due, anything that's assigned, right? That's going to go in here. Details of the assignment. So instructions will go in this text box. Now, I just want to go over something really quickly. In these text boxes, they're great, but you can't press enter when you're putting text in. So I'll show you what I mean. So if directions are step 1, 2 is step 2. You're gonna have to go shift enter to get multiple lines, but you can get multiple lines in the same cell. Let's give this emoji as well. Let's give it the scissors. And back to class. Now for these assignments, really quickly, let's relate this to the assignments database we just made. There we go. Now we have notes and assignments connected to each other, so if there are any assignments that correlates with certain notes that we wrote, we can quickly put them together. As well, when we click in here, we can delete these because properties were already automatically made. See, related to assignments class, we can go assignments. Related to this class will show up here. And notes related to this class will show up here. So what other properties do we want? We also want to roll up the due dates from the assignments. So we're going to press this little magnifying glass property. And the relation we want to come from is assignments, and we want to go down to due. Let's just open this up as a page. Now we want a due property that is a formula. We'll do that at a later time. Also, grade, we want that to be a number, and we want to make sure that it is percent. So if we go 86, it'll just automatically be 0.86. The GPA formula and the letter grade formula. Okay, now we have all our properties set up pretty much. Let's start making a template. Now we're going to make this template inside of here to just cater towards English Comp. So everything's going to be green and everything's going to be unique to this class. And then we're just going to duplicate it and adjust colors and adjust filters to associate with the other classes. So we don't have to constantly make this over and over again. So let's call this one English Comp 2. I'm not going to put the GIF up at the top. I showed you how to do it at the beginning. I don't want my computer to yell at me. So let's just give this an emoji. I think I just had like a minimal little dot here, which I like the look of. And let's go down here and start making these notes. So first of all, we want self-referential tables. Let's make a toggle. Let's / toggle list and call it SR tables. So we're going to go in here and just go / linked database. And I renamed that database to my class notes because I have too many databases in my workspace that are just called notes. So my class notes. And let's just adjust this a little bit. Let's maybe put this in here. I do want the assignments here. I don't want the class. And I do want files. We could probably hide this too. Now, in order to create that same effect I showed before where I just dragged the note into the database and it showed up automatically in here up in our properties, I'm going to create a filter that goes class relation. The only page I want contained in here is English Comp 2. So now with this filter, if I press new, just put something in like test, it should show up here as test. Cool. Now that we have that, let's also link down here the assignments. Again, I don't really need class in here. I would like to have the details and the due date though. And files. Same goes here. If we go test, it will show up if I put in this filter. Class contains English Comp 2. Go test. Let's also put in a due date for tomorrow. We should have the assignment and a due date. Let's delete that. Now that we have that there, maybe put a little divider. Now let's create a math block equation. This is / math. This is how we're going to create our fancy header text. We're going to go, I want this to be a large text. I also want the color to be sea green. And I want the text, I want a little emoji here to be maybe something like this, like we had in the other one. Do a space. And then I want capital B, lowercase b, and this is a style of font. I'm going to do the brackets again, and inside these brackets, I'm going to put English in all caps. Let's do a double backslash to give us a line break. And again, we'll do the capital B, lowercase b, 2 brackets to say notes. Again, let's do another break, or let's look at it so far. So this is what we have. Put in a little triangle, triangle left, big triangle, and all these little symbols, I'm going to provide a link below. KaTeX documentation gives you everything you need to have fun with it. So this is just like a small snippet of what you can do. I'm also going to do big triangle down, do another backslash, and maybe do triangle right. So that's going to give us this. And there you go. You have a fun little header. So again, backslash, capital B, and 2 lowercase b's is going to give you this effect. And this double backslash is going to give you a line break. So now let's get into these template buttons. And they are exactly what they sound like. They are buttons that will repeat elements in Notion over and over again by just a click of a button. So let's start with the first template. Let's call this first template top tier. This will be like our top tier note, like I said before. If the professor or the instructor is going over 3 pretty major but different ideas, that would be a tier, would be one of those big ideas. So for right now, within here, let's just give it a toggle. We will edit this later, but let's just call this toggle list and insert top tier. Close. So now we have our top tier here, and we can start writing notes. So let's put some placeholder text here just to give you the idea of notes. Now let's look at some examples of templates we can put in here. We'll call this a parent concept. And within a parent concept, we'll have some reoccurring descriptors. Something like maybe location, side effects. We could maybe put this in here. Go major, minor. Maybe turn this guy into a toggle as well. So the next thing might be something like treatments and recovery. Okay, and then at the top here, let's go insert parent concept. And then bring all of these inside. And turn this guy into a toggle as well. And close. Now if I want to use this, I'd probably duplicate it, bring it down to wherever I need it, and I can click on it as much as I want. And fill everything out inside the toggles. Let's make this a little bit nicer and in theme, and give this a green highlight. So now whenever we click on this, we get a green parent concept. Inside isn't green, but up here is, so we can see it better. All right, cool. For the next one, let's make a template for a unique quote. So a quotable would be anything from an instructor that is quote-worthy. That you think is important. So quotes are in Notion. That is a block. And you can go here and insert quote. But let's assume you want it to be a little bit bigger. You want it to be green, like the rest of the theme. And you want it to stand out more. We can use KaTeX again, but this time we'll use inline. To do this, we're going to wrap the KaTeX in $. So double $. And we'll just go large text. Well, let's make the color of it sea green. And let's make the text here and just say insert quote here. And close it out with 2 $signs. And then we can then turn it into an actual block quote. So we get the same sort of look that Notion gives us for quotes, which is nice. So close that out. Whenever we need a quote, we can just click this here and drag it down. Okay, now let's get into the dumb tables. But I feel like that's the best way to put it. It's just a plain table in text form and is not a database. You can do this in Notion. So let's call this dumb table. And again, let's do a centered math equation because I think that'll look nice. Now it's good to have these KaTeX boxes in templates because it's a bit of a pain to write them over and over again. So to make this, we're going to go \begin. We're going to do brackets and say array. We're going to begin an array, another bracket, and these are going to be our columns. So we'll go, we want 3 columns. And the first row will be placeholder A and B and C. This doesn't look like much right now, but once we get the whole thing done, it will. Let's do a solid line, D and E and F. Another new line, H dash line, G and H and I, and then we're going to close the array and go end array. I forgot to put a backslash before H dash line. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. This is your table with your elements up here with a solid line and everything else with dashed lines in 3x3. So we can adjust this by going here in the columns brackets and maybe adding another column. And over here, you'll see A and B and C. This is dividing our columns. We would have to go ahead and go end C1, right? And you sort of just keep doing that with each line. C2. And C3. So if we want solid lines going down, we would just change these colons to straight up and down lines. But I do think it looks better with the dashed line. If we want to get this A out of here in the corner, you would just delete it, but keep this and here. Yes, you would have to keep that and there. So this is nice because these type of tables, before I discovered this was impossible in Notion. So you could use this for something like a pros and cons list. Let's put pros neutral in the middle, cons. And the only issue with this is if you want a space, so say you want to say da 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 1, there is a space here, but it doesn't look like there's a space here. You'll have to do \text and then in brackets come over here. I mean, I'm not an expert at this, but this is how I do it. So that's pretty much how it goes. We're going to have the begin of the array, the end of the array, our number of columns, our titles, break line. This means H line means a solid line, H dash line means a dashed line. See that this H line represents this line, this one, and everything below it is here, separated by the and symbol. So now we have that. We can maybe call this, yeah, let's keep it dumb table. So if we need this, we'll just click this button. We don't have to keep putting that KaTeX in there every time and then just drag it down. Let's also put some of these parent concepts in here just to show how that works. Let's also add a call out in here and call it summary. And what I'm going to do is right now I'm going to delete all this. And I want all of this in here with this top tier. I want this to be a template, and you can put templates in templates. So we're going to put all of these inside this top tier template. So let's copy this here and just drag it in. And then maybe put a little ellipses down here to show where we need to write our notes. And then close. So now we can keep inserting these top tiers. There you go. Now when we're done with our top tiers, we'll bring down our self-referential tables. You can just highlight them like this, and we're going to drag them into this table, and they all turn into pages. And they will update in here. Put them back down here. I'm actually going to delete these because this is just a template. So all of this is going to appear upon clicking a template for English Comp. Let's go back. Now let's make another class. Let's say cell biology and genetics. So I don't want to make that whole template all over again. That sounds a bit annoying. So I'm going to come here into my English Comp 2 template, and I'm just going to duplicate it and call it cell biology and genetics. And then just go in to here and change this up. Maybe keep this top tier if it's relevant. Maybe add things to it, take things away, change some colors. And let's make a new class called anatomy. Let's duplicate this. Call this anatomy. And yeah. So there you go. It's not hard to duplicate. You can just go in and have fun with customizing everything. It's really just setting up that first template that might be a little time consuming. So now that we have all of that, let's actually create a view for grades. So we can check our GPA. I say our like I'm a student. I wish I was. Get rid of instructor. Maybe not these days, but I do wish I was a student in general. Let's get out all of that and just keep our grade properties. Let's say in anatomy, they're a 96, cell biology a 90, and English Comp a 92. So I'm just going to copy and paste these formulas in and go through it. This is pretty straightforward if you want to go in and adjust it yourself. It's if prop grade is greater than certain percentage, then this is what will show up. And I just keep kind of going down the list from the biggest number to the smallest number. And then this number here is if none of these apply, then 0. Same goes for the letter grade. If this, then that, otherwise F from the largest number down to the smallest number. So now we have our GPA and our letter grade in here in a completely separate view, which is nice. Now if you want to average your grades, you would come down here, go to calculate and average, so the average of 92, and average GPA is a 3.8. Now let's look at these assignments trigger that we had. And that little due, when is this due today or tomorrow command. So again, I'm just going to copy and paste this in. Let's just add one for a test and a test due date for tomorrow, and that works. Let's see if today works. Yes, something is due today. Okay, now let's go back to our class notes, and of course you can put GIFs in here in the cover image. Let me just go over that one more time. You just add cover, change cover, go to link, and put in the GIFs link. Or you can also just go to Unsplash and go through all of these pictures. And if you want cover image to show, you go to Properties, you go to Card Preview. Instead of the content, you go to Cover. Now, what I also want to show here is probably the instructor, the location, maybe the letter grade, that down like here, and if I have anything due. There we go. Now I can see upon just going into my dashboard, do I have something due today in these classes or due tomorrow? Pretty sure that's it. I'm going to put up the clean, nice, pretty example of this in the template below so you can take a look at it. But yeah, you're getting your grades, which you could rename here to grades. And maybe here say classes. You can also divide this up by semester. Using that filter again, you can add a filter in a new database view that goes semester is and choose one of these semesters. And yeah, that is pretty much the rundown on that. Let's go back to the pretty one. And that's it. I hope this was helpful for any students using Notion. I know I went through it kind of quick. I just wanted to give you a rundown of a complete dashboard. And thank you for watching. I will leave links down below, and I will see you guys next time.